All right, you ready?
I don't know what to say. We've done it 100 times.
Okay.
I mean, it's the same as usual.
Welcome to another episode of Hoot and Holla podcast. As you can see, we have a guest today. Do we say your whole government name? Like, do you want to do that?
Go for it.
All right. Well, I'm Candace, and she's
Whitney.
And today we have
Cody Weaver.
All right. He put his whole government name out there.
I'll put it out there.
You know.
Put it out there.
He's not hard to find. He's really not.
He's local famous.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He owns like several businesses, some legal, some not legal. I wasn't okay. I don't know how illegal things have to work, so I'm sorry if I said too much.
Oops.
Oopsie. We'll edit this out. So thanks for being here, Cody. We've been trying to get you here like for a little while,
like 2 years.
Yeah,
we've been talking about this for about 2 years.
Right. I don't know what happened, but you know,
y'all are too busy.
Is that what happened?
And she lives 3 states away.
This is true. She doesn't. I'm serious. You have to gas up. You have to really think it through. Eat breakfast, gas up, maybe get your oil changed because you just don't know. Make sure your shocks are good.
Check my tires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of these things because who knows what may happen. Get your little survival kit, you know.
And not only that, but I was like, am I even going to pass a gas station between here and there? And
Absolutely
the 2 I
not.
passed were, I was like, I'm not stopping there.
No.
I've seen this movie before.
This is too sketchy.
I was like, I'm not stopping there.
Oh.
Pretty sure I've seen this on True Crime. So today we're talking about parenting, divorce, relationships, mental health. And we're getting the male perspective today, so it's a little different, change it up a little bit.
All the fun stuff.
Right, right. So
everything a man likes to talk about on a Saturday. Divorce.
Yes.
Yeah, like rabbits.
And rabbits. Remember, we're on a timeline.
Right.
They don't sell bunnies on Sunday.
They do not. We just found that out that they don't sell bunnies on Sunday, which I kind of think is crazy because I feel like bunnies are out of season right now. So why are we?
Yeah, you think Easter?
I didn't know bunnies only grew at a certain time of year. I mean, is there a season for bunnies?
They're known
Apparently,
for reproducing, so I'm pretty sure that goes all year round.
I would think like Easter would be their
and
time
don't
to
you
shine.
reproduce more in the wintertime anyway?
It's true.
Yeah, you're bored, locked
this
inside.
should be,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I see like you have 2 drinks here. What's going on here?
That is so I stay awake, and that's so I don't pass out from dehydration.
Okay.
Yes.
0 sugar. So we went healthy.
This is
I'm not sure that's healthy, but it's better than some. Yeah.
something.
The other kind is green, and it tastes like toxic. So I'm like, this one at least I like it because it's watermelon.
Never seen nobody chase energy drinks.
This is like the ADHD Bible. You have to have caffeine and you have to have the water. You gotta have the.
Is that's
okay. For sure. I need to be extremely hyper, but also well hydrated.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. Well, all right.
And only one of those will still be here at the end of the day, and it'll be that one.
So we could have just took this. Okay. All right. So how many? So you're a parent, right?
I am. Yeah. So I've got 2 boys, and I've got a soon to be stepdaughter. Daughter. I don't like saying stepdaughter, but she is my stepdaughter. Okay. She will be. So recently engaged, getting married to be on my second and final. We've agreed that it's death. That's it. It's this or it's this or death. Right. So that's the only way out.
This is not going to be premeditated. Okay. All right.
It could be on her end. We'll see. If I don't make it back in time to get a bunny, we know
how this is going to end. Okay, cool.
I got Lisa's my fiance, and then her daughter Anna May's our oldest. She's 12. Right. Grayson is the middle. That's my boy. He's 9, and then Memphis is the youngest. He's 4.
Okay. I like that name.
I do too.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked it better than the other option. It got down between Memphis and Chasten.
Oh,
God. I hated the name Chasten.
That is the whitest white boy name.
I was like, that's a terrible name. That's what the name she wanted. And I was like, no. I was like,
y'all made a great choice.
We put it up to a vote. We were at the Blue Canoe for a fundraiser concert. And we had a big group of people at our table, all our friends. And we put it to a vote at the table. And we're like, if you like Chasten, raise your hand. Nobody raised their hand but her. I said, if you like Memphis, the whole table raised their hand. It's like, that's it.
Majority wins.
He's named after a Nicolas Cage character from a movie from Gone in 60 Seconds. Yeah, so that's where I got the name from.
Okay.
Memphis Reigns.
So if y'all ever have a girl, you need to name her Shelby.
Yeah, Shelby GT. Mm-hmm. We are having no more children.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, Lisa says that we're done, and I agree. Yes. I agree. Three is plenty. It's a circus with three kids, 2 dogs, and now about to be a rabbit. So it's already a circus.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Right. I get it.
A couple, cockatoos or something like that.
She wants goats.
Goats?
Oh.
I was like, we gotta have some land first. Now she said it could be an inside goat.
Wait.
Oh my God.
I have one request because I have a vote. I want you to get one screaming goat and one fading goat.
This is my plan.
She wants the little cute ones that just jump around, the little baby goats.
She can get that one too, but get one screaming goat and one fading goat and put them across from each other and sit on your porch.
And watch it.
This is our dream. Won't you help that come true?
Yeah. We've made plans
you can
for
talk
this.
Lisa into it a lot easier than you can talk me into it, I promise.
So parenting is fun. I don't have kids, but I have a little 6-year-old little cousin that I feel like a parent sometimes. And they're a lot. So what is one thing or what is something that your kids have done that reminds you of you?
Oh God. So my 2 boys, they're so much different. They're literal polar opposites. And Grayson, they're both kind of like me in certain ways from when I was a kid. Grayson is a lot like me in the he's very emotional, and I'm an emotional guy. That's one thing that Lisa and I we laugh at a lot. Is Lisa, my fiance, she's not emotional at all. She's the tough one of the relationship, right? So I'm not. I'm the emotional one in our relationship. And so Grayson's like that. Grayson's our emotional kid. He's into, he's our video gamer, and I was a big gamer. That was a lot of the stuff I liked. Okay. He likes the anime, the Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff. And that was a lot like me when I was a kid too. But Memphis is our outside. Let's throw a football. Let's he's not really he likes video games and stuff like that, but he likes activities and being active outside. And I did that too. I played football when I was a kid. I played soccer when I was a kid. And Memphis is much more into those things than Grayson is. Okay. So they're polar opposites as far as what they like and things that they enjoy and, their emotions and things like that. But they have a lot of similarities at the same time with like video games and stuff like that. And I was a little bit of both of those things too. Okay. And they both look exactly like I looked when I was the blonde hair. They are the spitting image of when I was a child. So
okay, all right. So you think you're killing it on the parenting front?
I don't think anybody ever thinks they're killing it.
If you think you're killing it, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Anybody that is like, oh man, I'm doing great at this parenting thing. It's like you probably need to do a welfare check on that.
Yeah, that's the one.
So if we gave you a performance review of parenting, what would your score be? Like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Man, wherever man falls. Wherever man falls.
That's probably somewhere between 4 and 5.
Wherever that falls. So so y'all know as well as I do. Matter of fact, you did the design work. So, I had that podcast for a little while, and I eventually, whenever I have 5 seconds to breathe, I'd like to do it again. We did that whole busy dad thing.
Yeah.
And, it was business dads and that was one of the cool things that I have that a lot of people don't have. And it's fortunate for me is, because I do own my own business and I'm a self-made man is I don't have to go punch a clock and check my kids in and out of places. Right. My kids get to come to work with me a lot. I do a lot of real estate investing and stuff like that. And the kids come with me. They come with me to look at rental properties and they're like, Dad, are we going to look at a burnt house today? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, we're going to look at a nasty house today. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, all right. And so they come with me and get to do stuff like that. So, I'm in a very fortunate situation to where I'm a little bit more involved as a parent than a lot of dads or a lot of parents get to be just because I have the ability for my kids to kind of come with me. So
push pause. We need to kick him out.
My bad.
Hey, kitty. He does not look happy with you throwing something.
No, like, butthole.
Well, I usually yell no when he stops. He's probably fixing to lay down and go to sleep.
Okay, I need him to. He'll be causing ruckus. Okay.
We have another special guest.
Right. Unplanned. So We're totally winging this, by the way, if you hadn't picked that up.
We don't have to tell our secrets.
So when I was a kid, and I was like with my mom one day, I was in a store, and I got lost. You ever lost your kid in public?
No.
Okay.
No, not that I can think of. But I'm very, I don't know. I'm kind of high strung. Like when I'm out, like, it's not that I'm like, I don't know if high strung is the right word to use, but like my kids kind of got to be in my visual periphery, like if I can't see them, unless there's other people, if we're with like a group and they're with like, if Anime's with them, like their 12-year-old sister.
Yeah.
Bye. But if it's just me and my two boys, it's like, all right, I kind of got to see where you're at all times. Yeah.
He's also a vet, so that probably comes along with that.
Yeah, I've seen too much like of the world to just be like, y'all go have fun. But now if we're at home, y'all outside's that way, see y'all, have fun. But we're out in the country, ain't gonna worry about it. But
my mom used to let us. She would be like, y'all go. And she would go shop, and we would go on the opposite side of the store and get in trouble by employees because we're playing with the toys and stuff. But she would just let us go. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I'd let my kids.
Yeah, you end up on the news doing that.
Yeah. That is no.
Here's 90% of my parenting is don't end up on the news.
Yes,
like
that's great advice for adults too.
Yes,
it's like every decision is this going to put me on the 5 o'clock news? Yes or no is how I make a decision.
And I've got 2 boys too, so there for a short period of time, it was like we were in the ER every other week. And I'm like, so my goal is we're not going to get you taken away this week because we're in the ER again.
We end up in the ER.
I'm abusing you.
We end up more in the ER for me than we do my kids.
Really?
So,
okay.
Because I be doing dumb stuff more than I should.
All right. I think that's probably universal for dads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that just comes with the territory.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Do you have are you a fan of dad jokes?
I love a good dad joke. What you got for me?
No, do you have one?
Oh, hell no.
No, man. I thought we were going to give it. I love dad jokes.
I don't have enough capacity.
I would, when we worked together, I would Google them all the time and just yell them out at random. But
no, I don't have enough capacity up here to store all of them. I'll hear one. I'll be like, I was like, man, that's a great joke. I need to remember that. And then I'll get to work and I'll have 387 emails and 14 missed calls by 7:30 in the morning, and all the dad jokes are gone. It's like,
no space,
real life. Yep. So how do you balance the busy schedule, fiance, kids? Like, how do you make time for yourself? Or do you have time for yourself?
I mean, occasionally, I mean, so I find little moments. It's it's one of the things that a lot of people, don't talk about is it is hard to kind of shut, especially when, I own just one business now. So I own one business, but also I do real estate investing. And those two things keep me really, really busy and clients, a lot of times they'll want to talk to you after hours. You'll get emails, you'll get texts. And a lot of times, something that people don't talk about is it is hard to shut that off.
Yeah.
When you get home at night and, you're cooking dinner and you're with your wife or my fiance, you're with your kids or your husband or your boyfriend or whoever, when you get home at night, when you don't have when you don't have a paycheck and you're like, okay, the way that I make money is I have to go find it and I have to convince these people that I'm worth them giving me their money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when that person is like wanting to talk to you and you're like, this is family time, it is hard to be like, okay, I have to shut this off. And I think setting those boundaries and having a partner like Lisa, like my fiance, who will say, hey, you're with us. Right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, my bad. Like, okay.
Sorry. Whoops.
So having somebody that kind of holds you accountable and make sure that okay, when it's family time, it's family time. When it's work time, it's work time. And I own a marketing business. There's nothing that I do as a service to my customers that has to be done at 9:00 at night that can't wait till tomorrow.
Right.
And so it's just about realizing this can wait. You're with your family, you're with your kids. So I try to always make sure that I keep those two things separate, that I set boundaries and I set guidelines. And then, making time for myself a lot of times is just little small things, one of the things that super important to me is, I'm a musician.
Mm-hmm.
I love to play music. That was something I wanted to be since I was a kid. My earliest memories as a child was I want to sing. I want to be an entertainer. I want to play music. This is a critical part of who I am as a person. And I had a lot of failed relationships in my life that did not work out because that is something that I was like, this is what I do for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I love this and I'm good at it. People love to come see me. People will come out and see me play. If I'm in town, I'm blessed that I get to go play at the colleges. I get to play at Mississippi State. I get to go play at Ole Miss, for these big frat parties. I've played for a couple thousand people, at one time. And it's a blessing that I get that. And that's what I do for me. That's me living out my childhood dream, And so I think it's important that you do have something that, even if you can dedicate small, even if it's just something small, a couple hours once every 2 or 3 weeks to doing something that you thoroughly enjoy and that brings joy into your life. I think that's important. I think it's important to make sure that you have people in your life that are understanding of that and support that, which is what I have with Lisa and even the mothers of my children. They are, supportive of, me getting to go and do those things. And I think, at the same time, being able to reciprocate that is also important. I try to, whatever, if Lisa has things that are important to her, she wants to go have a girl's day, or if the mother of my kids wants to go do something, I always try to make sure that I prioritize their time and their ability to be able to do things because they also give me that same respect.
And
go ahead. Sorry.
It ends up being good for the kids too.
Yeah,
that everybody has some kind of mental break.
Absolutely.
Because it is not easy.
And just me, like for dating and trying to date, I always make it clear. It's like, look, I honestly do not have free time. Right. So I don't want to have my time wasted. So if I'm actually spending time with you, that means I've moved something around. I've put something on hold to try to pursue this. But I also need you to understand when I'm working, but I will make time for you.
Right.
But to find someone to, understand.
Nobody gets that.
The thing is, what I've found is you either need to find someone that's really extremely understanding or someone that has more than just going to work and coming home going on.
Yeah. Because somebody else driven.
Yeah. Because if you don't, it makes it difficult. It really does. Because they don't understand. It's like, why are you not talking to me? Why are you not? It's like, and that stresses you out. And so, like you said, you do have to create boundaries. So I have like boundaries for myself to like have those moments on the way to work or in the morning time. I generally don't try to communicate too much with people because I try to have that my time going to work. That is my time alone. Coming from work, that's my time alone. That's like 35 minutes each way. On my lunch break, nobody gets access to me. After 9:00, that phone goes automatically on Do Not Disturb.
Right.
That's how I create those little moments to myself. Because if you don't, you will, you mentally you'll be drained, physically you'll be drained. You gotta have that breakaway.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Another one for me is I like to, I don't get to go as much as I used to, but going to the gym is another one for me. I don't go as hard as I used to. Like I'm not in there, trying to be Superman like I was when I was a younger man, but even just now going, I'll go before work and I might just walk. I might just walk for 30-45 minutes on a treadmill around the track and listen to a podcast, and I don't answer emails. I don't.
Right.
Yeah. That's my me time.
Right.
So
okay.
Well, I don't know that we've actually said it, but November is men's mental health month.
Right.
And that is one of the main reasons we have Cody to get a man's perspective. My question, one thing that I always think about, and that I find myself asking men that I'm comfortable around, I always think about all the burdens that men carry, like as the leader of a household, as the dad, as like all the pressure that men feel, because I know the pressure that women feel.
Right. Yeah.
And, in my house, I feel a little bit of both. So I feel like I can relate a little bit.
And then you also, for me, you always feel like you always have to be the one that they come to, like protection and just being the go-to. How does that?
What are the biggest pressures that you feel that you might not even talk about? I guess you'd say, I'm not telling you to like bare your soul, but like what?
What would you want women to
understand.
understand?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, like you said, the pressures. I think, an in tune woman does understand. It's like, it's not a secret. I don't think anybody really doesn't understand the pressures that men face. And, like you said, single mothers face them. A lot of women face the same things, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, anxiety, I think that anxiety and depression and all of these things, your mental health, the struggles, they're not, it's not a gender related thing, right? It's not, you either have them or you don't have them based off of you're a man or a woman. I think it's about your situation. And in a traditional nuclear family, the man carries a lot of that burden. Like you said, in my family, I carry a lot of financial burden. Lisa does too. We're a 2-income household. And honestly, right now in our home, Lisa carries the primary financial burden of our home, because most of my income, which I am the primary breadwinner, but most of my income stays tied up at this time in deals and business deals that are in the long term, they're going to bring in a substantial amount of money for our future.
Yeah.
So right now, we're in this unique situation where she's actually carrying a pretty substantial financial burden on our home, because right now I have so much of our money tied up in things that are to come, that are going to be like, all right, if we get through this, if we carry this through, in January, we've got a lot of things coming that are going to be like, great for our family. Yeah. But I mean, and there's a lot that goes into it too, man. A lot of it, a lot of your mental health and the way that you are able to deal with the pressures of life comes to just, how, the environment you expose yourself to and what you put around yourself, right? If you are putting yourself in positive situations and you're surrounding yourself with positive people and you're building a community around you and an environment around you that is positive and is uplifting and is encouraging and is motivational, then you will inherently become a part of that environment.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you surround yourself with negativity, you surround yourself with bad influences, you surround yourself with other people that are just depressed, you're ridden with depression and anxiety and are full of excuses and, then you're going to inherently become a part of that environment. Yeah. So for me, that's always been my thing, is I want to surround myself with people that are inspiring, people that are uplifting. I want to consume positive and uplifting things. I don't want to consume negative things. I don't want to be around negative people. I don't like being around people that are constantly pointing fingers and like, it's this person's fault. If this person didn't do this, I could have this. And that was
victim mentality.
And that was a big, that was a real big reason why my first marriage did not work out, was we had very, very different viewpoints. And she struggled with her own mental things. I struggled with my own mental things. But the way that we chose to live in our struggles drove us further and further apart, to the point to where there was no way.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm proud of her for is since our divorce, she's gotten to where she does really good with handling, I think, from what I'm seeing. It looks like she's made a lot of progress with handling those things that she struggled with, with her mental health. And I am still moving down the same path I kind of always have, with trying to always make sure that I'm putting myself in the right situations around the right people. And now in my life, I have more of that than I did before. So I feel like, even with going through something as ugly as a divorce, both of us have come out in better situations for our family than we would have been if we would have continued down the path we were going. So,
Right. So what, I mean, y'all both can answer this. How impactful was divorce on your mental health?
Oh, it's the hardest thing I've ever been through, and I've been through a lot in my life. I don't talk a whole lot about my life, my past, but I've had a pretty turbulent turbulent life. I've been through, the system as a child. I was taken away from my parents when I was a kid. I was placed in the custody of my grandmother. I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but just going through that as a child, there was a lot of drug abuse. There was physical abuse in my childhood, and that was rough, and it's one of those things that stays with you forever. And then of course I was in the military, and I did a deployment, and so there are things that come with that,
right.
But up to this point, when I went through my divorce, this is something I told my dad. I was like, through everything that I've been through in my life, this is the hardest, wow. And it was by far the hardest thing I've ever been through. It got to the point, I was living in a hotel for a couple weeks, and at the immediate, as soon as it started, right? Like, this is happening. I moved into a hotel, and I was living in a hotel, and I felt like I was dying. I mean, I legitimately, I was like, something's killing me. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I was losing weight. I think like the day that I told Ashley I wanted a divorce, I weighed like, I've always been a pretty skinny guy, but I worked out a lot, and I think it was like 180 pounds, 175 pounds. And I was fit, and I felt good, and I was healthy. And, within a couple weeks of, being in that hotel and going through this, I had lost almost 30 pounds.
Wow.
I couldn't eat. Wow. I was sick. I had the shakes. I couldn't sleep. My face was sunken in. Like, I was like, this is killing me. And so I was going to the doctor, and I was like, something's killing me.
Right.
And they're like, man, you're depressed. Like, you're going through a hard time.
Right.
You're depressed. It's going to get better. And so I just kind of had to tough it out. But yeah, it was hard, not just on me. It was hard on everybody. It was hard on my ex, and it was hard on our kids. Mm-hmm. But one of the reasons why I felt like, and I never wanted a divorce. It wasn't something I was like, I didn't plan for it. But when it started to become a thing that I knew was inevitable, I was like, it's going to have to happen now, because if it doesn't happen now, it's just going to get worse, and it's going to get harder. Right. And at least right now, our children are at a young enough age to where we don't really have to worry about them being overly confused.
Yeah.
So we can at least explain it a little bit easier to them at this young age than if they were older. So
yeah, I know. I remember you see these things on Facebook and stuff all the time, and it's like, it's going to be hard this way, or it's going to be hard that way. So pick your hard.
Yeah.
And he acts like he didn't see it coming. How he didn't see it coming, I have no idea. But I had been considering divorce for 5 years.
Yeah.
By the time that it finally like reached a head, and Candace just saw 2 years of my marriage and saw more than enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, breaking the news to him and being like, I'm done. That was probably one of the hardest things.
Right.
But then the kid fallout, because mine were 9 and 11 when we got divorced. That was really hard because they didn't understand. And of course, you can't explain it to them because they've never been in a relationship. They don't understand it. They're just like, I want mom and dad together.
Right.
And it is the hardest thing ever for your kids to go through. And it was so freaking hard. Because, like, it is so weird. No, and I hadn't heard a lot of people talk about how 1 minute they're your best friend, and within 24 hours, they're a total stranger. And it is so weird. Because it's like you go from, I know this person inside and out, to I don't know this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it feels so weird because you wanted that. You want to be apart from them. But at the same time, it's like you're still connected to them in some weird way.
Right.
And it is, yeah, it's a mind.
Right.
I'm not going to say.
You don't want to say the words.
I don't want to say that on our show. But
yeah, it is. Yeah. I was with Ashley for 4 years. And then, and then just one day, it's just like, one day you come home, but when I went back to my house, after she moved back home, and I walked in, and I walked into an empty house with no family, no furniture, no fridge, it's like, all right, this is this is what I got now. It's
Yeah.
you know, I chose this, and I did. This is what I chose. I'm the one that said that this was something that I wanted to have happen. It was, you know, the divorce was my decision. And like I said, it was very, very ugly. It was very hard. There was a lot of very angry words spoken.
Yes.
But today, you know, 2 years and some change later, I think that we're both in a place to where we're like, okay, this was right for both of us.
Right.
So
and I know that's hard to even think about. You when you get married, when you say your vows, you're like, okay, this is it. You know, I found my person for
I didn't
life.
believe in divorce. Like I was like, well, this is it. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's also to have, you know, a great family and support system around you. Like I never told Whitney to get a divorce. Like, yes, you need to do that.
Candace was amazing.
I was like, hey, you know, once you say this, there's no turning back.
Right.
So make sure you exhaust every option to try to fix it if it's fixable.
Right.
Before you make that decision, because once you say it, like, things will never be the same once you say it. So make sure you're solid in your decision. So one question I want to ask y'all is, what was the biggest lesson you learned in transitioning from being married to now divorced?
I mean, the biggest lesson that I learned was honestly what, you know, goes back to what I was talking about as far as putting yourself around the right people in the right places. I got to the lowest point of my life after my divorce. You know, I mean, I went, and it was not even immediately after my divorce. Immediately after my divorce, I was trying to fill a void. I was trying to fill a hole. I was trying to fill this loneliness, and I immediately jumped into another relationship.
Yeah.
And when I jumped into that relationship, it was a great relationship for the most part, but for certain reasons, one of them being that the music, right? I was like, this is me. I was like, I play music. This is something that I can't give up. And this girl essentially told me, she's like, I will not be with a man who goes to a bar for any reason. Oh, wow. Even if it's to play music, even if it's just, she's like, even if that's what you're doing, she's like, I'm not going to be home. I'm not going to be at home with a kid or whatever, and you're at playing music. That's just something. And that is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with her wanting that in her life, right? So, and I was like, okay. I was like, I don't blame you. I don't hate you. I don't fault you. I hold no ill will against you for feeling that way. You're allowed to want what you want, but I can't give, like, this is, you're asking me to give up the absolute, other than my children, like, this was my passion. This is a part of me. If I don't have music in my life, like I said, since I was 5 years old, I was in the backseat of my parents' car singing. This is what I always wanted to do. It's like, and I don't do it much. You know, I'll go out, I play once or twice a month for a couple hours. I get to entertain people. That's my me time. It's just part of who I am. And probably, I don't want to give that up.
Probably right then, especially right after your divorce, you were probably leaning in and needing that.
Yeah, it was one of the it was one of the things that I had that made me feel okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I jumped into this relationship. It didn't work, you know, and that was, you know, and that was one of the biggest reasons. And then it was right after that. Right after that was when I I fell completely off. You know, I started, I was out every night. If I didn't have my children at home, I was going out every single night. I was drinking as much as I possibly could just because I didn't want to feel anything.
Yeah.
Right. If I felt anything, it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Nothing felt good. So I was like, well, I just don't want to feel anything at all.
Yeah.
And so I was going out every single night, and I was treating people in a way that I don't treat people. And I knew, I was like, this is not me. I don't treat people like this. The way I was talking, the way I was acting, it was not who I wanted to be. And so I got all the way down to the point to where, I was like, I got two ways out of this.
Yeah.
One's with a bullet, and the other is with get your shit together and don't live this way.
Yeah. Right. Make a choice.
Right. And it got to where I was considering both. I was weighing the pros and cons of both, like the easy way out or the hard way out. And I was considering the pros and cons of both.
Yeah.
Right.
And ultimately I was like, I have two beautiful boys, and I could never, ever take their dad away from them.
Yeah.
I could never do that to them. And I love my boys. They're my absolute pride and joy of my life. I love both of them. And eventually, with, like I said, I surrounded and I was putting myself around bad people in bad situations, and I was doing the wrong things, which is what spiraled me out of control down into this point to where I didn't know if there was a way out other than just ending it,
Yeah.
And so I started to refocus my priorities. I started to refocus the people. I started refocusing what I was doing, who I was around. I started putting good things and positive influence into my life and into my thoughts. And I was able to pull myself out of that place and just kind of get back to who I was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I had my kids with me 90% of the time. So it was really hard. Like, you don't want them to see you falling apart, but it's kind of like, I don't even have time to do that. Like, just because they are here and they are seeing me, and I don't want them to see that part. So it was really hard because I couldn't get away. Like, I couldn't go to a bar or whatever. And I just kind of dealt with it quietly. And I mean, Candace heard about it. I leaned on her some, but still. And I was married for we were about to be 14 years that year when we got divorced.
Wow.
And man, when you have slept next to somebody for 14 years, and I know even for 4 years, it is so weird. At night is the hardest because even though you don't want them there, it's like somebody should be here. I'm so used to having somebody here. And then suddenly it's all empty.
Right.
And it is so weird and so hard. And I assume that's kind of, similar to losing a spouse. It'd be the same kind of feeling, like that weird, empty thing. But in a divorce, it's like, I really don't want them here. But,
I'll tell you what's a weird spot. Being the friend.
Yeah.
Like, when I met her, I met her.
Right.
We became friends. Then I, got to meet her husband, and we have a rapport. Accepted him, and I've been at the house and been around the kids, and it's like, and then you're seeing things, but that's your friend, so you're not getting involved in. I ain't trying to get in nobody's marriage and business or anything. I'm seeing things like, I wouldn't be dealing with that, but ultimately, like,
especially when both parties have a mutual friend, it's a hard and
it's difficult.
We had a lot of friends that got put in that position. We had a lot of friends that when we went through our divorce, we had a lot of friends that were like, I'm not picking sides. Like, y'all are gonna have to, this is between y'all. And even Lisa, my fiance now, she was one of those mutual friends. Lisa came to our wedding when me and Ashley got married. So she was one of those mutual friends that, that was one of them. But, it's just, there's a right way and a wrong way out of every situation. The right way is usually the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's just about, are you willing to take that hard road? Or are you just, because the easy way is probably going to lead you in a terrible direction.
Right. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and Whitney, you can answer too. This kind of come up like mental health, divorcee party. Because we got to wrap this up because we got to go buy a bunny. So, in marriage or any relationships, period, you make a lot of sacrifices. You don't always get everything you want, and you don't always, you're not always right, and those kind of things. So when you get to a certain point of setting boundaries and trying to protect that peace, going through divorce and all of that stuff, how important was it? And maybe you didn't have this problem, but I can witness to Whitney. How important was it to find your no? Like, you're so, like, Whitney's a people pleaser. She is. Yeah. But when she got to the point where she was saying, no, this is not okay. No, we will not live this life. Things in her life started to change for the better.
Right.
It's difficult because when you want things to be well, you want things to be right. You want, you have this image in your head on the way things are supposed to be, and they're not. Right. And so you have to draw that line in the sand and say, no, this is not okay.
Right.
Did you have a point or a moment where you found your no?
I mean, yeah, it was the day that I didn't go home. You know, I mean, it was I don't want to talk disparagingly about my ex-wife because she is who she is, and I am who I am, and the biggest reason our marriage didn't work out is we are just extremely different people. You know, everything from our family to our values to what motivates us. You know, every single thing about us is different. And honestly, what ended up, how we ended up together was we started dating, and very early into our relationship, she got pregnant.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and both of us were like, okay, well, we need to, we got a kid coming, so we're gonna try to figure this out. And unfortunately, we couldn't. And that's just the stark reality. So I don't want to sit here and say, well, she did this and she did this and she did that, and eventually I had to put my foot down. From my perspective, that's what it felt like. But from her perspective, I'm sure she probably felt different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that were important to me that I valued about being a family, about her being my wife, about our life and the direction I wanted our life to go, that she did not feel the same.
Right.
And even if she did feel the same, she had reasons that were justified reasons to her of why she couldn't contribute in those ways. And so, and to me, I didn't accept those reasons, but to her, they were valid.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point to where, we were fighting every single day. It felt like things that were simple things to me were impossible things to her. And I eventually, it got to the point, we had the day that I decided that I was done. And I said, no, was we got into an argument about feeding the kids. And I hadn't gotten home yet. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon. I was just getting ready to leave work. And I was like, we were not in a good place. And so I was stopping to have a beer on the way home. I was like, I mentally prepped myself for what I'm going home to. So I was like, so I stopped at the little bar and grill right next to my office to have a beer on the way home. It's 4:00 in the afternoon. I sat down and she's texting me about the kids are hungry. I said, okay, well, it's 4:00. Give them a snack. It's too early for dinner. I'll cook dinner when I get home. I'll cook dinner. And she's like, well, they're hungry now. I was like, give them a snack. Well, we don't have any snacks. It's like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm at Mugshots. I'll order food. What do you want? Yeah. I don't want Mugshots. I was like, okay, well, what can you tell me? Give me some kind of direction. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. And then it turned into a fight. And then it turned into, and I fell apart. Like I just immediately I could feel my heart just going faster and faster and faster. And I started shaking, and I just fell completely apart at the bar at Mugshots. And I just started bawling, and I'm crying, and the bartender's like, oh my God, what's happening? And I had a friend with me that was one of our mutual friends, and she's sitting on one side, and another guy that's a friend of mine is sitting on the other side, and nobody knows what to do because I'm just falling apart. And I was like, I can't. I was like, this is three, like, and it's like I said, I don't want to say like this is bad on her. She had her reasons. She had her justifications. Her and me are just two completely different people. And because of that, we had gotten into these situations, not just every day, but most of the time it was multiple times a day. Right. Multiple times a day. We were just not on the same team, not on the same page, there was no happiness anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And so in that moment, because of the compounding of how much this had been going on, and for whatever reason that day, getting into that argument and just trying to find a way through this conversation without it turning into a fight and then it just not happening. And then here we are fighting over nothing.
Right.
And I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I walked across the street to the hotel, and I checked myself into the hotel. I told her that I was not coming home, that she could figure it out. I would send her money, or I would send food home for the kids, whatever I needed to do, but I could not come home. And so I did that, stayed in a hotel for a couple weeks, wanted to talk to her, in face to face about the divorce. Unfortunately, it got drug out. It was kind of like, you're going to tell me right now. I'm not waiting. And so I did. And then,
That's
of course,
familiar.
Yeah, it's like, and then I was the bad guy. Like, well, he did it. He didn't even have the balls to talk to me in face about it. It's like, I tried. You literally forced me to tell you right that second on the phone. Like,
it's funny how that.
So, but anyway, like I said,
I witnessed that.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
I witnessed that one. Yeah.
So, but anyway, like I said, but that was the moment, and I think if you were to ask her today, right now, did she think that it was the right time for that to happen too? I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that she would say, yeah, I think we were heading in a really, really bad direction. And I think that
in hindsight,
I think that, I think that as ugly as it was, as bad as it was, and as much as we went through, we're all better off.
Yeah. But one of my biggest regrets was not talking more often, not saying, I would be quiet to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Because he was the type, like, if he got in a bad mood, the rest of the day shot. Like, he's going to take it out on everybody the rest of the day. Yeah. So a lot of times I did not say anything. I let it go. Yeah. Let it go. And then you eventually get tired of letting it go.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And, I had thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And oddly enough, our stimulus hit one day. And it just, like, right after COVID is 2021. A stimulus had been approved. Everybody was getting theirs. Ours finally hit. And I'm like, this is it. I can send him on his way with that. He can go get an apartment. He can do what he wants.
Yeah.
And we'll be okay. Because that was one of my biggest things, because the house is mine.
Right.
And I'm on my family's land. That's my dad next door. We got 200 acres here. And I'm like, he won't have anything. Right. And that was one of my biggest things was, I don't want to kick him out on the street with nowhere to go and nothing to do. Because even though, does that mean that cut off?
No.
Okay. Because even though I don't want to live with him anymore, I don't want the father to my children, homeless.
Right.
And I do care about him as a person. So I'm like, okay, this is my chance. So we sit down and we talk. And it's like, I've had enough. I've given you 14 years and nothing has changed. We are still living in poverty. We still don't have food. We still don't have our basic necessities. And it's mostly because of you. And I'm done.
Right.
And of course he begged and give me a month. You won't even give me a month. And so I'm like, oh my God, whatever. Okay, fine. So he ended up staying for another like 2 weeks, I think it was. And he came to work with me one day because he was going to be back doing some physical stuff in the back. And I remember he asked me, I went back there I was going by him to get something. And he asked me something about sitting on the front porch with rocking chairs when we're old. And I just kind of looked at him because I'm like, I literally just told you I want you out of my house. And you're bringing this up. And I'm like, I don't know. And he was like, what do you mean you don't know? And I'm like, I've told you for the past 2 weeks, I don't know anymore. I don't know. And it just blew up.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're done. We're doing this today and all this stuff. So I drove all the way back here because we rode together. That was a fun ride.
Bad day to carpool.
Yes.
Bad day to carpool.
Bad day. Drove all the way out here, dropped him off, went back to work. As soon as I got back to work, he pulled that whole, like she did, like it has to happen now.
Yeah.
And you need to come home right now because I'm not lying to these kids when they get home. When they get off the bus, I'm telling them with or without you. And it's like,
right.
Yeah.
So you're just going to hurt your kids for, oh my God. Yeah. So I had to turn around and come all the way back out here and we had to tell the kids like immediately. And he left that night. But yeah, it is not fun. It is not easy.
Yeah.
By any means, no matter how it happens.
It was hard to watch too. I have divorcees in my family, but to actually see somebody going through that's difficult as a friend to watch because you want to fix it, but it's not your place to fix it, and you don't know how to fix it either. So I just tried to be the best friend that I could be, in as far as like listening to her whenever she wanted to talk about it. Yeah. You know, if she asked me for advice, I would try to give her unbiased, regardless of how I felt or whatever.
Candace handled it like a champ because she was never that like girlfriend that was like, you need to leave his sorry ass and you need to do this and you need to do that. She never once said, you need to do this. It was, you need to think about it. You need to calm down. You need to breathe and you need to really think this through and decide if it's what's best for you. Like she never once was like,
and that's the thing, that goes back to, what we talked about with mental health and how do you deal with it? It's about what are you putting yourself around? Yeah. If you put yourself around those people that are like, F him, F her, you can do better, which, and that's, when we went through this, my ex-wife did that. My ex-wife went around her people that were they were that. He's a piece of whatever. And so all she had in her ear was constant negativity and hate. Yeah. Right. And hate breeds hate. Yeah. And so, that's true. And I got, like I said, I did it too. I got to that point where I didn't even know a way out because I had started putting myself around those same things. But if you put yourself, it doesn't, not just divorce, but anything in just life in general. Yeah. If you put yourself around positive people in positive environments and positive communities, people that genuinely are trying to move in the right direction in life.
They are genuinely your cheerleader. They are there for you. You're there for them.
You're going to have a positive life. You're going to have a good life. Right. You can't be around constant positivity and good influence and be trash. Like you can have a trash mindset and have negative it's not even possible. But if you're constantly around negative, if you're constantly around those chirping, those people that like to chirp in your ear and fill you up with hate and anger, you're going to be a hateful, angry person.
Did you find, because I have found this, like my circle is very small now. It is people like Candace. It is our friends that are there for the hard times, there for the good times, there for all of it. Good people. But I found that the divorce weeded the other crap out. Did you have that where like people just kind of took the trash took itself out?
I don't think so much because she moved from where she lived an hour away, so she didn't know a whole lot of people. So a lot of our friends and stuff were really people that were in my circle. They just kind of brought her in. Yeah. There was a couple of people that, after the divorce that I was like, okay, you showed your true colors. Now I know who you are. Yeah. And so I don't really have much to do with those people anymore. Yeah. But for the most part, because I play music and I work in business and things like that, and I'm in a lot of different community organizations, I know a lot of people. Yeah. But when it comes to the people that I keep close to me, like you, it was a very small circle. Yeah. And those people are still very close to me even today. Yeah. Because I kind of don't let you into that place if I don't feel like you're going to be there no matter what. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. This has been a very great discussion. We're going to have to do part 2 one day, but for now, we're going to have to end it here because we got to go buy a bunny.
I've already got the text. Yeah. She says, do you want me to just go ahead and head to town? And I was like, all right, I'm coming. I promise.
All right. We don't end this now. We got to worry about mental health. His physical health is going to be
we got to go get a bunny rabbit.
Thank you, Cody, for being open and transparent.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again, and I'll...
maybe something a little lighter.
I'll make sure that the next time we talk, I don't have responsibilities with the family. So.
Hey, this podcast happens when we can fit it in. So we all understand
thanks for fitting me in. I was glad to be here.
Well, thank you for coming and accepting the invitation. Kind of last minute a little bit, but we do appreciate you coming. So we've had another great episode, great discussion about mental health for men, and we talked about divorce and relationship, kids, and all those kind of things. But I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope you found something to help you get through whatever you're going through currently with mental health, men, women alike. I think it's very important. I think the main thing that you may take away from this, or you should take away from this, is surround yourself with good people, positive things, because when you're in a down place, you gotta have some positivity to balance that out, to help pull yourself out of those situations. So, and it's always been our hope too that this podcast could be that too, right, to help people get through that part of the day, to get their day started, to get through the weekend or whatever. So that's always been one of our goals as well. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share this podcast, share this with men in your family that may be dealing with some issues. Hopefully they'll find some inspiration in Cody's transparency and stories. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Holla, y'all.